I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but all of us have a shelf life. The shelf life is how long can you go before you start to sour, like a can in a cabinet or maybe even lettuce in a refrigerator. How long can you go? And you should know what your shelf life is, and you should understand the shelf life of the people around you. For me, it's 2 weeks and 2 days. In 2 weeks and 2 days, if I don't do something that fills my passion bucket or motivates me or inspires me or teaches me something or helps elevate or lift me, I start to sour. That is why you come here. That is why you gather. That is why you go to BNI meetings. And there are lots of ways you can do it. One of the things I do, I'm a big fan of TED Talks, and I keep them on my phone. And when I find myself starting to sour, and I see my shelf life getting shorter, I will go watch one of them. Something on leadership or something on how to be a better person. One was how to poach the perfect egg, right? So I hope that you will understand what your shelf life is. You know, teenagers' shelf life is 22 seconds. And so how do you help them? How do you help the people in your life? And most importantly, how do you help yourself? I hope you'll take a minute and understand that. And while you're here, make sure that you're adding lots of shelf life to what you're doing so you can go help others. So we're going to take some time today and talk about where BNI is going. Why is BNI so compelling? Why would the world need BNI? And there's a very interesting thing happening, and Ivan, I don't know when was the first time you said this, but I think it was probably 15 years ago, so you're way ahead of your time when you said this. He said when things are high-tech, they need to be high-touch. There's this high-tech world, and in the high-tech world, we are high-touch. We are the antidote to what is happening. We're the antidote to the digital world, to the AI, and we're going to use AI. We're going to use it really well. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit. But we are the antidote. We know and we understand that when you take trust plus collaboration plus problem solving, that equals referrals. We are the most compelling thing out there in the business world right now. I truly believe that. And there's a book called The Relationship Economy that was written by John Julius. And basically what he said is that we must have the capacity to form human relations, that it is essential skill set that we need to have. And you know, how many millennials do I have in the audience? Millennials and maybe zennials, a good number of you. Yeah, so I don't know if you know this about your generation, but you guys like safety. And prior to the pandemic, you were not getting into business ownership at the same rate that prior generations were. And then when the pandemic hit, what you found was the jobs you had that were safe, where you were deemed non-essential, and you were either laid off or waiting for work, that you realized what us wiser, gray-haired people know, is that there is no safety, that actually you create your own safety when you create your own destiny. And so you started getting into business ownership. But what you realized was that you didn't really know the art and the science of networking. And John Julius talks about this. This goes back to what Ivan said, where there's high tech, there must be high touch. And our high touch is all about, and this doesn't translate everywhere. In the US and in other parts of the world, we call it Main Street. I believe it's High Street in some places. And it's, there's one that's called Zungenstein Road. I can't even pronounce it right. But Main Street is this place where we live. We are Main Street. We are all the small and medium businesses in the world. And you know, we talk about all the time, we don't talk politics and we don't talk religion, right? Because it's not the politicians that will bring the world together. It is the business people who want to reach across the street, across their town, across their province, across their country, across the globe. That is what will bring the world together. That is how we will change the way the world does business. We are Main Street, and we are the most important thing that will help bring the world together. And when you think about bringing the world together and what we do, there's a way that we can do well and do good. We are where altruism meets capitalism. We can do well and do well things for ourselves, for our families, and at the same time, do really good things in this world. Our mission is very clear, to help our members grow their businesses through structured meeting and structured training. That's it. There was a Forbes article a couple of years ago that came out that talked about that there was going to be this big rise in the relationship economy. And it said that the companies that could do these 7 things would be the companies that would succeed and grow the fastest through where we are right here and now. That they prioritize the customer experience. The place that I believe we are the absolute strongest is our member experience in the meeting. I have been to meetings across the globe in multiple languages, and sometimes people say, do you need a translator? I'm like, no, I don't need a translator, because I know what's happening. This is where we, right here, talk about our ideal referral. This is where we say, I have a referral, I have a testimonial. This is the 10-minute presentation. We are very, very good at the customer experience at the meeting level. We put our customers first. When I talk about our pillars in just a bit, you're going to see on the leftmost cornerstone, when a building is built and built right, the first left cornerstone is the most important cornerstone. It says members first. There's high transparency. The BNI Connect, where I know how much thank you for closed business I have, where I understand where the referrals I'm giving. I can tell you, I can look right now, and on my BNI Connect, it says I have done 158 one-to-ones this year. And I know it because there's high transparency to what we do. And need I say anything about values? There are very few companies that are as driven on values as we are. The essence of who we are and what we are is givers gain. We know there's a sense of connection. We are the epitome. I think that if someone in the dictionary was looking up how to describe the word connection, they would just put a picture of a BNI chapter meeting. We completely understand connection. We have brand ambassadors. That is what we do. Our members bring in more members and help create the product that is the meeting that then retains more members that then want to go out and launch more chapters. And we know, above all else, that we have a positive impact. That positive impact starts with our values. I will never stand in front of you that we don't start and talk about our values, because that is who we are. Those are the rules that we've all agreed to, that we understand that this amazingly diverse group of people have all agreed to live by these set of values. Now, there's some interesting things going on. There's some data that I've been looking at. There are about 20 million small, medium businesses, SMBs in the world, that fit the typical member that joins BNI. 20 million. So let's see. We have 346,000 members, but there are 20 million out there. Do you think we can grow BNI? And they're adding at 9% a year. Our membership this year is at 4.8%. So if they're adding at 9% a year, and we're growing at 4.8%, are we keeping up with the growth? No, we're not. We have some opportunity, and that is why I talk about our BHAG. When you have a BHAG, and I'm going to talk about our million members, we have to be the best in the world. Do you believe that we're the best in the world? Yes. Okay, and I never like it when a speaker can you say it again? But I need you to own this, because I cannot own it by myself. Do you believe that we're the best in the world? Yes. Okay, excellent. We have the economic engine. Our meetings are our economic engine, and we have the passion to get to 1 million members. So last year I said we're going to do 1 million members by the end of 2027. And I had some people say, what if we don't hit it? What if we do? What if we hit 980,000? We will be keeping up at least with the growth of SMBs as they're coming into the world. We will be able to help them take their businesses to a whole new level. So I thought what I'd do, and is Rob Gurecki, where is Rob Gurecki in the group? Where are you? He's probably, oh, there's Rob right over there. So what you guys should know, Rob is our VP of product, and he's doing an amazingly good job. He also is the person that I go to all the time with, can you help me sift through the data? Can you help me understand what the data is telling us? He's got a brilliant mind on that. So I said, I want to do the math. How can we get to 1 million members? How do we do it? And we based it on some things that I'm going to talk about and I need from you. I need every single chapter to add 1 new member, one net new member every single quarter. Every single chapter, every single quarter, 1 net new member. We have to, we say, launch, fill, retain. They go, it's not only launch. It's not only fill. It's not only retain. It's all of that combined. We can't just do one. We have to do all of them. I also need every single region to add net 2 new chapters by launch a year. Every single region, net. That means if you lost a chapter, how many do you need to launch? 3. If you launch 2 chapters, how many do you need to launch? 4. Exactly. So the numbers you're going to see is based on this. So if you look at this, where we are today, and on the launch, fill, and retain, these are the numbers. If we're retaining people at the current rate and not letting it go 1 step behind, if we're launching net 2 new chapters per year, per region, and every single chapter is adding 1 net new member per quarter. So now, does that get us to 1 million members? No. So it's a really small number. It's 664,755, right? That's not enough. That's 335,245 that we're still missing. How do we get to 1 million? How do we get to 1 million? Now, if we keep doing what we're doing, we can get to 1 million by 2029. And that's good, but it's not good enough. If we believe and we know that we can change people's lives, that we can change the way the world does business, that we can grow businesses, it is incumbent upon us to grow on that. During International Networking Week, where I did 5 countries in 5 days, it was an amazing 5 days. I heard so many amazing stories. And when I was in Germany, I had a member that came up to me and he said, you need to hear my story. And I've learned that when a member says you need to hear my story, I need to listen. I need to be curious, right? Like Amanda said, I need to have that curiosity. And I said, please tell me your story. And he said, I joined a chapter about a month before COVID hit. And about a month after COVID hit, I was pretty sure I was going to have to close my doors. And I went to my chapter and I said, I'm not going to make it. And they said, that's not going to work for us. Let us work with you and figure out. And they sent me referrals and they helped me with my business. And he said, I am only here today because I am part of BNI. If we know, isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's amazing. So we can get to 1 million members by the end of 2029, and that's okay, but it's not good enough. So what are we going to do? And one of the things I'm going to say is I need your help. We're going to add some growth levers, and I'm going to talk about the growth levers. Then I'm going to share with you how we've done in 2025, and then I'm going to show what we're adding in 2026 so that you can see how these growth levers are being added. I believe that we can add group purchasing, which is that we can find companies that can offer services or products that do not compete with our members, that can be sold to our members and our franchise owners at a reduced price, where they can get something better than they could get on their own. And therefore, it creates a stickier relationship in the chapter, so that first-year new member who says, it's taken me a while to get some referrals, right off the bat, they have buying power. They're not buying mom and dad small business. They're buying, I'm BNI, and I get special pricing. That's one of the ways we can have a growth lever. One is through AI. You're going to hear Rob and Tim, who've done some amazing work. We've partnered with a best-in-class partner on AI, and we're going to roll out 9 different projects. We call them personas. The first 2 are ready now, and you're going to see them. We're going to make sure that we add and grow through franchising, because it's a great way to get people out there opening up with passion and launching more chapters. We have, by the time we finish up this year, we will have sold 3 times more franchises this year than last year. Yeah. And then there's an opportunity to leverage our groups and our communities, because there are places and ways, 1, to have better search features so that we can search across the globe. 2, to connect in places where it makes sense across the globe. Those are some of the places that we have growth levers. So how are we doing? And by the way, AI did this. I don't think I look like this at all, but AI did this. So if you remember last year, I shared with you for the very first time our pillars, our strategic pillars. And just for those of you who maybe weren't in the room or you haven't seen these before, one of the things I noticed when I got here is we were drowning in a sea of opportunities. So many opportunities. And you know this, if everything is a priority, then what? Nothing is a priority. On Wednesday, when I talked to you about your priorities, and I said, if you have 10, you're going in 10 different directions, we had to get very focused on 2 things. On where are we going, and so we don't have someone pulling over this way and someone pulling over this way, and get us on scorecards. Every single associate in BNI has a scorecard. I have a scorecard. I share it with our executive leadership team on a regular basis, as do they share theirs with mine, and we review with milestones, how are we doing, how are we getting there. Mine roll up to these. So last year, when we talked about pillar 1 was growing membership, 2 was amplifying the BNI community, 3 was creating new business opportunities, and 4 was maximizing technology. And I'm just going to touch on a couple of things. So we said under amplifying the BNI community, we were going to have a survey strategy, survey our members, survey our franchise owners, survey our associates, because those are my 3 customers. We got all of that done and launched. Many of you, if you were at ND training, or you've heard, if you get, and for the ED survey, we use a third-party company called Franchise Business Review. So anything you send over, if you wish it to be anonymous, it can be and will be. Even if I call and say, I will fire you, FBR, if you don't give me who that was, they won't give it to us, okay? So we can get real feedback. We've shared that with our national directors to talk about, we did our first survey in early summer. We got some great insights that we've been sharing and using to grow. So that's been very good. I will tell you on the technology side, one of the things I talked about last year, all of you know I'm a member, and one of the things I couldn't stand is I went here for BNI Connect, and here for Business Builder, and here for Insights. Do you guys like going to all those places? No, I didn't. And I said, we're going to have one platform. We launched mybni.com, and it is yes, I know, I'm like, yay, one place. You know, we have a lower number of people using our Business Builder than we should. Some of it is because they have to leave something to go to something. So this puts it all in one place. And in creating new business opportunities, one of the things that we talked about was we were going to franchise more. We have done that. Now there are some places where we have opportunity and we didn't do everything we said we'd do. One of them was, while we have grown new members almost 5%, 4.8% year over year, we expected to do more than that. And we're going to miss that number by a few thousand. We're going to miss that. It is because we did not launch enough chapters. That is why. And some of it was learning what we need to do to launch chapters. And we can't just have a campaign. You guys know what happens is we push, we push, we push, we push, we push. We launch chapters, and what happens the next year? We must have processes like Alan Stein talked about, focusing on brick by brick by brick. We must have those processes in place to make sure that we're doing that. That's one of the areas, because if we don't get those chapters launched, we're not going to grow the way we need to. Remember, launch, fill, and retain, they go hand in hand. So I wanted to share that with you, and I thought this is a little bit of a list of the things that we got done that I already talked about. I'm pretty excited about mybni.com. I do want to talk about top talent. When you look at our pillar, one of the cornerstones is attract top talent. You want us to focus on attracting top talent. And I'm very excited we brought on world-class Chief Financial Officer. Andrew, I don't know where you are in the audience. He's probably off doing the budget. No, there he is, right there. He also had been a Chief Strategy Officer. I like surrounding myself with very strategic people. He's been a fantastic thought partner and a fantastic partner to our operators to help us get better and stronger in understanding how all that goes together. And then I also hired a Chief Marketing Officer, who you will all be meeting soon, who has just started. And she's going to help us on that second pillar, which is amplifying the BNI brand and community. So this is 2026. And I'm not going to touch on everything. You're going to hear more about it as we go out throughout different countries and we talk to our national directors, and our national directors talk to all of you. But there are a few changes that we made. One of them is on the second pillar where it says, we used to say amplify the BNI community. And when we got our CMO in, she's like, I'm pretty sure you need to amplify the brand as well. Because, you know, we're really good at talking to ourselves, but not so good at talking to the outside world. She's going to focus on two things to begin with. The first thing will be, how do we put tools in your hands as an executive director, as a national director, as an area director? How do we get tools in your hands to get to your chapters, to invite more visitors, to be able to do what we do best? And then also, how do we position ourselves on the international and national marketplace so that when we say, would you like to come visit my BNI chapter, they don't say what? Yeah, who? What is BNI? Absolutely. So you'll see that. You'll see on here some things right here where it says, we're going to develop and execute a global marketing strategy. We're going to build stronger strategic partnerships. Michael Wachonsky, where are you, sir? Right, I heard you right over here. Michael has been building a really strong partner program. Frederick, who I know is in here, had sat on a bus with me last year at convention and really filled my head with ways that we can really get tighter on our partnership programs, where we go out to bigger companies and say, your people in your company, whether it's a franchise company or whether it's a company with a good long sales force that needs to be in BNI, we can help them do that. So you can see that right here. And if you look at the first pillar, there's something that is blindingly obvious that did not become blindingly obvious to me until about a month ago and to our team. We must build a blueprint. So I shared earlier that we're really good at the meeting. It is tight. It is the way it should be. Is it perfect? No. I don't think I've ever attended a perfect meeting, but I've attended many, and most of them are excellent meetings that create results. What we don't have, what we haven't been good at yet, is creating a system for the system. That process that Alan talked about, how you lay the bricks. So one of the things I did about a month ago is I started asking people at various levels. So I would ask 4 people, how often should a director consultant visit a chapter? And if I asked 4 people, I got 5 different answers. Okay. How many chapters should a director consultant have? How do we use ambassadors? I can go on and on. We are going to create a 1, maybe 2-page document that is a blueprint that will be the beginning of the system of the system. We'll be talking with many of you. We'll be working through with the Executive Council and the senators and our national directors and various levels of our organization to put together a really great blueprint. Now, nowhere in there did I say a perfect blueprint. No such thing exists. And I can promise you when the blueprint comes out, Some of you in this room are going to say, I do not agree with this right here. I don't agree. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you disagree, because now we have something to discuss. We have something to work through. We have something to debate so we can get to the right thing. And remember, one of our values is positive attitude. And in positive attitude, it doesn't mean we say everything's perfect and we don't talk about it, but it means that we know tomorrow can be bigger than today, and we understand where we fit in. So I'm going to ask your help as we build that blueprint. You're going to hear a whole lot more about what we're doing in AI. I touched on the group purchasing. We're going to start looking to understand and study whether we build something internally or whether we use a best-in-class. It is normally my philosophy that a lot of what we should do, what do we do best? It starts with an N, networking. What we do best is networking. We should focus our time, effort, energy on networking. And the other things we need to do, we should have the best talent and hire best-in-class companies and platforms that can help us do that. So we'll study that, and we'll understand what to do that. And we will continue, we will be looking for ways to connect data, because data is going to be very important to you. Having a business intelligence portal that you can go to and look at information in a quick and easy way in the same place on the mybni.com. And the data, we have amazing data that we should be sharing with the world as an expert. We are Main Street. We should be saying that in this industry, what we know is the best referrals, the best business comes from here, and here's what it looks like. If we are the expert in that, there's a very good book called Mastering the Complex Sale. If we are very good at that, understanding that, data gives us information, information tells us the stories help us understand what needs to happen next. And if we can do that in the business world, that'll be part of amplifying the BNI brand, because people will be like, well, if BNI says so, it must be so, right? That's what we want to say, and we're going to have people want to flock to us to do that. So this is where we're going in 2026. I'd like to remind you that on the top is our vision to change the way the world does business, clearly with our mission. And on the foundation, our values are always our foundation. And then we put our members first. We attract top talent. We simplify processes, which goes back to the blueprint, and we execute brilliantly. And I would rather have an 80% idea that we execute brilliantly than a 100% idea that we can't get out of the gate. Okay, so if you look at something and you're like, that's 80%, we're going to execute it brilliantly and get it out of the gate, because we need to get moving. We need to get comfortable with accelerating what we're doing. So why does it matter to you what we're doing here? We're looking to drive performance, get more referral partners, make sure that we have increased market share. We want to attract better talent at every level. Better people in our chapters, better people in our regions, better people across the global support team. We want to foster innovation. I love our value of traditions plus innovation. What that looks like for us is the tradition of this very disciplined meeting. The root of the word discipline means to learn. We learn in this meeting, tied to innovations, where we will use AI in ways like this. And I'm going to let Rob talk about it much more eloquently than I will. But do you ever have a question like, how should I do this? Or if I'm a member, how could I put my giver's gain profile together? And you got to go here to look at this. You got to go here. And there's this, Ivan talked about a couple of great podcasts. Not a couple. I don't know how many. Is it like 1,000 podcasts now, Ivan? Yes. So all this information, how do I get to it? So AI is going to be where we can say, I want to know how to build the best giver's gain profile. And it's going to say, do this, 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 and this. And if you'd like to listen to the most amazing podcast on it, here it is, click here, as an example. And we're going to use it to connect us, meaning our members, to one another, and to connect us, franchise owner to franchise owner, and to connect us, national director to national director. And it will help us move faster and adapt faster and be able to learn faster and help our members, our franchise owners, our national directors learn better and learn faster. So what do we need you to do? And I see you guys taking pictures. Thank you. I expect everyone in this room to take a picture of this slide when it's done. okay? Because this is we cannot do it by ourselves. I cannot do this by myself. The most powerful phrase that any leader has is, I need your help. I need your help. And this is what I need you to do. First and foremost, when we put the blueprint out, use it. If you don't agree with it, then come talk to your national director and we'll walk through it. But I need you to use the blueprint. I need you to get it out everywhere possible. I need you to learn from it. I need you to use it. In the United States, one of the most profitable airlines in the United States is Southwest Airlines, and I think it's one of the more profitable airlines across the globe. And for 39 straight quarters, they posted a profit. No other airlines has done that. Now, the reason, a lot of people think because to the public, they talk about we're the fun airlines, we tell fun jokes, and we're fun to be around. But that is not why they're the most profitable. They're the most profitable because they fly one plane, the 737. One plane. Every mechanic, every pilot, every flight attendant knows how to use that plane. They don't have to buy as many parts. They don't have to train any harder. They don't have somebody that only knows this one plane, but doesn't know this plane over here. We're going to create a blueprint that is the 737. And somebody in this room is going to say, but I want a fighter jet. Okay? We are going to create smart, profitable processes that grow us, that create profit for our franchise owners through a blueprint that essentially is the essence of a 737, okay? Because we're going to understand what that is. So use the blueprint. I already talked about this, launch one net new chapter every 6 months. Every 6 months. So in July, I'm going to ask you, have you launched your chapter? Have you added one net new chapter through launch? And when I see you next year, I'm going to ask you, because it's so close to the end of the year, do you have two? I'm going to ask all of you when I see you. Make sure that we're going to have to add one net new member per quarter, per chapter, every single time. It is the process, remember, laying the brick. One net new member per chapter, per quarter. When I go around in my chapter meetings, sometimes I say this. My ideal referral is a driven human being who wants to control their own destiny, who's purpose-driven and really understands where values and culture can help grow a company, who would like to be part of this amazing organization as a franchise owner to change their lives and to change the lives of others. I'm looking for people like that. If you know somebody who would like to be a franchise owner in our system that meets that, send them to us. Michael Wachonsky would like to talk to them. I need you to send franchisees to us. And then lastly, and most importantly, I need you to live our values, to be our values, we don't have to tell people our values, we have to show people our values. We need to be the living example of our values. That will grow us. That will accelerate us. And as I get ready to wrap up, I'm going to ask you to do something so that we can bring it home. And I really want you to pay attention to this. I talked earlier about accelerating, that we're going to accelerate. We have to get comfortable with getting faster. Remember, we're going to move fast but not hurry. We have to get comfortable with the rate of change and the things that we need to do. And so we have to get there and get stronger at lifting that weight. The weight's not going to get any lighter, and accelerate. So when I say BNI, what are we going to do? What are you going to say? Okay. But with maybe just a little bit more energy. And we're going to do it 3 times. I would like to do it so loud. There is another group, one floor up, that they're like, I don't know who those people are, but I want to come join them. Y'all good for that? Okay. BNI, what are we going to do? BNI, what are we going to do? All right, this last one, you guys were really good. But have you ever had someone to say, reach up as high as you can, and you think you've reached up as high, and they go a little bit higher, and you realize, oh my goodness, I can go a little bit higher? I want you to show me, I need to see from you that we can go higher. I want it to be as loud. I want you to have a voice that's kind of raspy after this. BNI, what are we going to do? Excellent. It is my honor to serve all of you, and I'm really looking forward to accelerating BNI.